prosecutors say two witnesses had seen a person dressed like him running from the murder scene. Palmer was killed as he was returning home from the cinema. Maddie Savage is in Stockholm.
This is a crucial moment in a case that's been pored over by police and journalists for more than 30 years. Stig Enström, the man prosecutors now believe shot Olof Palmer, had previously been considered a witness in the case. He'd been working late in a nearby office. No weapon or new forensic evidence has been found, but after looking at his police statements, they concluded his version of events didn't add up. And not a single other witness remembers seeing him at the scene of the crime. He was known to be a critic of Olof Palme's social democratic policies. He was confident using guns and had money troubles and alcohol problems. But he killed himself in the year 2000, which means he'll never be brought to trial.
A new report assessing the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on world economies has described the outlook as dire. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says countries around the world face a deep recession. Here's Andrew Walker.
In the light of the immense uncertainty about how the coronavirus pandemic might unfold, the OECD has assessed two alternative scenarios, one in which the virus continues to recede and one in which a second wave of contagion erupts later in the year. The report describes both as sobering. In neither can economic activity return to normal. The deep recession will be followed by a slow recovery. In the gloomier scenario, the decline this year would be very severe, more than 7.5%, and the recovery next year especially weak. By the end of 2021, the report says 5 or more years of income growth could be lost in many countries.
The NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has welcomed Britain's decision to review the role of the Chinese telecoms company Huawei in the development of the country's 5G network. He said the West could not ignore the rise of China and must stand together to face any challenges.
China is coming closer to us. We see that in the Arctic. We see they are heavily investing in critical infrastructure structure in Europe. And we see, of course, China also operating in cyberspace. So this is not about deploying NATO into the South China Sea, but responding to the fact that China is coming closer to us.
Britain decided earlier this year to allow Huawei technology to be used in its 5G network. The United States has been pushing for the company to be excluded from such infrastructure. World news from the BBC. Australia has rejected Beijing's warnings that Chinese students should exercise caution when deciding whether to study at its universities. China's Ministry of Education said Asian people were being targeted in Australia in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. The Australian Education Minister, Dan Tehan, said his country had respect for all visitors. Tensions between Beijing and Canberra have been on the rise since Australia voiced its support for an independent inquiry into the origins of COVID-19. The World Health Organization has told Pakistan that it should implement intermittent lockdowns to counter a surge in coronavirus infections as the country relaxes restrictions. It said Pakistan did not meet any of the prerequisite conditions for easing restrictions. Health officials in Islamabad on Wednesday announced a record number of new cases. Democrats in the U.S. have introduced legislation in both houses of Congress to address police reform following the killing of the African-American George Floyd. They are trying to schedule a vote towards the end of the month. The Oscar-winning film Gone with the Wind has been removed from the streaming platform HBO Max after the company
The Oppo Find series pushes the boundaries of technology to constantly create new possibilities. Crafted from highly durable ceramic, every curve is deliberately designed to feel like an extension of you. We've incorporated a 120Hz UltraVision screen. True billion color display refreshes seamlessly. Oppo Find X2 series.
Book Club. But I don't know about you, I'm finding we have to be inventive in all sorts of ways at the moment.
Yes, I think we have to always be inventive in all sorts of ways, but it is a challenge, isn't it? And I'm looking forward to speaking to my readers and to you.
Well, as a writer too, Deborah Levy is magnificently inventive. A poet, a playwright, a memoirist, a short story writer, not to mention the author of 7 novels, most recently The Man Who Saw Everything. The novel she's talking about today, Hot Milk, which was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize and has since been translated into 20 languages, takes place in Almeria in Spain during one of the hottest Augusts ever recorded in that country. To this sun-baked place have come 2 British women. The elder, Rose, is 64 and suffers from mysterious pains and a paralysis of the feet that makes it impossible to walk. Or usually does. Rose's symptoms are erratic, and so far no doctor has been able to explain them. With Rose is her only child, 25-year-old Sophia, who's so preoccupied with looking after...
And whether he's joined by scientific and medical professionals, because over the last couple of days in some of those press conferences it has just been a government minister. So questions about schools for him, questions about businesses, and also we are due to get some more information from the Prime Minister about how the lockdown will be lifted. You mentioned just before about zoos opening and some more of those outside businesses, but there really is pressure on him from pubs and bars and restaurants, particularly those who have outside spaces, about when they will be able to reopen and how they will go about managing that. They want more information now so that they can plan ahead. But the government is still grappling with this idea of the 2-metre rule, which scientists say has to stay. But there are some questions about why other countries have been able to reduce it to 1 metre and whether that could be done here safely and some of those risks mitigated.
Thank you very much to Kate McCann in Westminster there. The National Health Service Confederation has said that the health service in England faces an uphill battle, forecasting that the number of people on NHS waiting lists could more than double by Christmas. Currently, there are around 4.2 million people waiting for NHS treatment, and that number is set to rise to 10 million by Christmas, assuming that the NHS makes a steady return to full capacity over the coming year. If there is a second wave of COVID-19, however, and no vaccine or treatment for the disease, the waiting list could be pushed to an estimated 11 million by the end of the year. And speaking to Kay Burley at breakfast, the chief executive of the NHS Federation, Neil Dixon, said resuming health services was dependent on the number of COVID-19 cases falling in the community.
The first thing we really do need to understand is the scale of this challenge. We all hope the virus recedes, but the health service is going to face a very uphill battle. Routine operations, but also material clinics and so on, the community, GP surgeries, all these services are affected by the fact that we still have COVID in the community. We have the threat of COVID in hospitals and care homes. All that is going to constrain how quickly the health service can pick up.
Well, many hospitals now have a backlog of cancer operations that were delayed because of fears of coronavirus infection. But some have taken extra steps to ensure they can provide treatment safely. Our science correspondent Thomas Moore saw one hospital's COVID-free care, and a warning his report includes pictures of surgery taking place.
PPE is the new normal in high-risk surgery, but what they've done at this cancer hospital is anything but routine.
We operate in a different way, but the results are good, as comparable and COVID safe.
Most hospitals have cancelled cancer surgery, but University College London has shielded one of its buildings from the virus. Only cancer patients who test negative for COVID-19 are admitted. Staff, too, are regularly screened, and operating theatres are deep cleaned.
The risk is real during the peak. We did not know who was coming in with COVID. So despite having the PPE, with all the risks that we're minimising, this is working and functioning very well. It's all good.
Results from the first 500 patients who've had surgery at the hospital during the peak of the pandemic show just 10 were diagnosed with the virus in the weeks that followed. None died. Studies from Wuhan early on in the epidemic showed that 1 in 5 patients having operations died soon after if they had the coronavirus. And that's largely because surgery in itself can affect the immune system. But here they have found a way of working that reduces the risk to zero. Many cancer services have been suspended during the pandemic because the risk of coming into hospital was thought to be too high for vulnerable patients. But there is now a backlog of thousands of operations, and delays in treatment can cost lives.
If you reduce the chances of COVID entering the hospital, you can continue with high volume, urgent and cancer surgery with good outcomes for patients, which is particularly important because we know globally about 2 million operations are being cancelled a week. So there's a lot of need for this to be able to continue, and hopefully other sites can learn from what we've done.
Everybody's very happy to see that you're doing so well.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Tim Robinson had surgery 10 days ago. The safety measures at the hospital gave him peace of mind.
There was all sorts of fears. You just can't afford to delay. The hospitals are doing a fantastic job, and if you follow the COVID cleaning, don't touch your mouth, all the sort of things, you're going to be in safe hands.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
The coronavirus is likely to return in at least one more wave in the coming months. What medics have proved here is that vital surgery can continue even in these difficult times. Thomas Moore, Sky News.
A statue of a slave owner, Robert Milligan, that stood in London's Docklands has now been removed. The statue, which stood in West India Quay, was taken down yesterday evening. This follows a petition launched by the Tower Hamlets Labour councillor Tasham Hake and comes amid a review of statues across the capital. The London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, says he wants to ensure diversity is better reflected. The UK's most senior BAME police officer has released a statement calling for George Floyd's memory to be honoured and stand up to racists. Our correspondent Noel Phillips joins me now. Well, let's talk first of all about that statement from the senior policeman. What's he saying?
So, Adam, a hugely significant statement. Neil Basu is one of the biggest figures in British policing. He is of Asian descent, and he's tackling the issue that's at the forefront of everybody's minds. That is the death of George Floyd, which has caused huge protests, not just in the US but across the world, and indeed here in the UK. He has talked about his feelings of being a serving police officer of colour. He's also talked about the fact that when he joined the Met back in 1992, the year afterwards was when the Stephen Lawrence inquiry was launched, and obviously Stephen Lawrence was murdered by a racist gang in East London. The investigation which followed was flawed, and the Met was branded institutionally racist. Well, Mr. Basu has said we've come a long way since those days, but he does concede and admit that there is still a very long way to go, and he's praising officers who are on the front line at the moment, who are having to police a lot of these demonstrations, and officers who are having to be at the forefront of people's anger, officers who are being, told that they're on the wrong side of the demonstrations. And these are officers of colour. I'll read you a few lines from Mr. Basu's statement because it's quite a lengthy one, but I've picked two quotes from his statement. He talks about the death of George Floyd, being horrific for everyone, and rightly so. All the good cops, he says, I know, regardless of heritage, we're also horrified, but for many of my Black, Asian and minority ethnic colleagues, I suspect this has been a shattering week. At least that's how I feel. He goes on to say, taking a knee was and is a powerful symbol of challenge and hope, and I was moved to see some of our officers do so. But personally, I see this as a time to stand up to racism, to inequality and injustice. And we see those pictures, haven't we, outside Downing Street, police officers getting down on one knee and standing with those protesters in solidarity. And the pictures that you're seeing on your screen now is what I filmed on Sunday evening, and it shows police officers attempting to arrest a man and subsequently having to abandon that arrest, have to, be getting outnumbered by a group of angry protesters who pelted them with bottles. And you can see the diverse group of police officers there. There's a Black woman at the back, there's a number of white colleagues, but it just shows you the fact that the anger from across the states that we've seen directed towards our emergency service personnel who are on the front line is also being felt by the very officers who are policing these demonstrations. And it shows you just how complex it is to be perhaps a Black black officer at this time in 2020. But Mr. Basu does go on to say in his statement that he hopes, this movement, this big conversation that is being had will change institutions and attitudes across the country.
And meanwhile, statues across the country are under review.
Indeed, Adam, and obviously we've seen that statue being removed yesterday. On Sunday, we saw the statue in Bristol, protesters taking matters into their own hands and essentially toppling that statue, rolling it down the street, and eventually, chucking it in a pond. And many people will say, listen, we've waited a long time. We've, launched petitions, we've done campaigns, and nobody listened. So this is our only way of getting a national focus on this issue. And for many people, I think there's a lot of concern now. What can we do to ensure that we are listening to protesters who are concerned about how painfully significant and symbolic these statues are to, people of color who have obviously, faced a lot of prejudice, a lot of racism, and the fact that these statues still stand across the country will be of some concern. So I think the review will be ongoing. And where do we go next? We don't know how many more statues will be removed. We don't know. But what we do know is that there's a big conversation that's being had, and rightly so, about these statues which still stand across the country.
OK, thank you very much indeed. The brother of George Floyd is due to testify at a congressional hearing into police brutality today. This comes the day after Mr. Floyd's funeral. Hundreds of mourners lined the streets of Houston as a horse-drawn carriage took his body to its final resting place. Mr. Floyd, whose killing in police custody sparked a wave of anti-racist protests across the United States, was buried next to his mother. His family delivered emotional tributes, and the activist, the Reverend Al Sharpton, expressed his support for protesters who in Bristol took down a statue of a slave trader.
I've seen grandchildren of slave masters tearing down slave master statue over in England and put it in the river.
Between them, they have enjoyed 192 years of life between them. And today, the Duke of Edinburgh will celebrate his 99th birthday. Just one more before he gets a telegram from his wife. To mark his birthday this year, a photograph of him with the Queen has been released. Sky's royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills reports.
It's not often we get a new photograph of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, but with Prince Philip turning 99, it is a big birthday worthy of something special. Taken last week in the grounds at Windsor Castle, with possibly a hidden tribute in what the Duke is wearing.
Prince Philip is wearing his favourite coat, which is the boating jacket of the Grenadier Guards, and it was given to him by a great friend, Sir Eric Penn, in his will. Sir Eric had been to all the different auction houses and had bought the different buttons from different sovereigns. Each has a different badge, going back to William IV.
After stepping back from royal duties in 2017, Prince Philip is rarely seen in public. Since lockdown started, he's been at Windsor with the Queen, from where they've both sent out messages of support to key workers and been taking some exercise.
Whatever problems she's had, she's been able to take them to him, and he has been there supportive and loyal, and I think that they represent the sort of continuity, really, and continuity when people really need continuity.
Last week, Prince Charles told us how much he was missing Prince Philip.
Well, I haven't seen my father for a long time. He's going to be 99 next week. And so, yes, all my grandchildren or anything. So I've been doing, well, the FaceTime is all very well.
Social distancing will, of course, get in the way of any family celebrations. Not that that should really matter for a couple who've spent more than 7 decades by each other's side. Rhiannon Mills, Sky News.
You're watching Sky News. Coming up next, questions still hang over the assassination of the Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme, as the case is officially closed after 34 years. The 34-year-old investigation into who shot and killed Sweden's Prime Minister Olof Palme has finally been closed, but questions still remain over the unsolved mystery. Palme was shot in the back at close range in central Stockholm while walking home from the cinema in 1986. This morning, the chief prosecutor, Krista Peterson, said the case has involved one of the biggest murder investigations in the world compared to that of the assassination of JFK.
See and say that this is one of the biggest police investigations in the world. It's often compared with the assassination of JFK and even also with the Lockerbie bombing. None of these investigations are anywhere near as large as the Palmer investigation.
Well, I'm joined now by Jan Stock-Lasse, author of the international bestseller, The Man Who Played with Fire, Stieg Larsson's Lost Files and the Hunt for an Assassin. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Of course, Stieg Larsson looked into this case and believed that South African far-right groups were involved, and you too have taken up that investigation. Were you satisfied with what you heard from the prosecutors, official prosecutors today, as they closed the case?
Good morning. That's a definite no to that question, and it's also unanimous. The reactions are already coming from everybody who has been had at least a little bit of interest into the murder, and everybody's saying this is extremely poor. So unfortunately, this is a huge disappointment after a day that we've been waiting for 34 years in Sweden.
The authorities have apparently named a man who's now dead, Stig Engström, who's known as Skandia Man, who was actually one of the witnesses of the murder. They said they believe he carried it out. Is that credible?
It's not at all credible. He's an attention seeker that has changed his version of the event many times, but he was mainly attention seeker. The only way he could have got away with this is that he would have been a Swedish Kaiser Söze from the film The Usual Suspects, and that's not credible at all.
So what's gone wrong? How come the authorities have reached this, for them, definitive and wrong conclusion?
It would be much easier to answer a question, what have gone right, because that's a very short answer. Everything has gone wrong from the first day of the murder, even in the first minutes after the murder, when the police started making mistakes. And now the new prosecutor and the new police, with actually 4 police officers, saying that they have solved the largest murder investigation using only circumstantial evidence. But they're saying also that all the policemen before...
DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors, and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's gluten-free. You can grab one from the nearest Afro-Caribbean shop or the corner shop next to you. Insist it's Mama's Choice. It's certified by both the US and the UK Food Standard Boards. Grab one for yourself today. Mama's Choice. Baby Sa Charlie.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from Sendwave.
SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7, at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
UK.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you're listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
Good morning and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Today is Wednesday, the 10th day of June, the year 2020. Someone would say in the year of our Lord. And once again, I want to welcome you to the greatest program in the whole wide world, the Starr Radio UK Morning Show. Of course, if you don't know, now you know I am. I am the one and only Archie on Starr Radio UK. Nobody does it better. once again, I say welcome to the program. I'm going into my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Frank David, Mr. Olayomi, wherever you are, gentlemen. Good morning to you. Mr. Benita Hammond, all the way in Cape Town, South Africa. Good morning. To our presenters of Starr Radio UK, we salute you. But today happens to be the birthday of one of our presenters, Mr. Dave West. Maestro, massive good morning to you. And to one of my princesses, young lady Mara. Good morning and happy birthday to you. Okay, so if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday to you. To Prince Philip, the Duke himself. Happy birthday to you, sir. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Good morning to my brother Kwame, to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, to Mr. Kofi Ali, to Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama. To all you wonderful people, we salute you all. Let me say it this way, all protocol observed. If you're watching us live on Facebook, share the page with your friends and loved ones. If you're watching us live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and all the others, share the links with them. But you can also subscribe to our YouTube page, and every time we are on, you will never miss a thing from the front. So salute. Governor Haven in Minnesota, Mr. Davidson in New York, Mama B, Beyonce, wherever you are, good morning to you. Mr. John Buama in Houston, Texas, we salute you all. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady, for listening to us. Okay. Now, if it's your first time listening to us on by way of this program, this how it's going to be flowing. I'll bring you the quote of the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, and then the travel update will follow. We'll bring you some lovely tunes, and then we'll go on from there to bring you the news that is making the rounds in the world. Exactly at 11 o'clock, we have Mr. Olayomi joining in. And after that, we go on to have a look at other stories making the rounds. We open the line at 11:30 for you to join in the conversation if need be. Then at 12 o'clock exactly, we bring the curtains down for the program. And then we take you straight to the House of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. There are lots happening and we'll see the reactions. But this morning, there is something that I wanted to be looking at. And that is pertaining to the removal of statues. I'm of the view that if we just go on that tangent, thinking that, okay, statues of those who call it imperialists, or those who were slave masters, or plantation owners, and all that other stuff people have been talking about. People decide, okay, yeah, so that is what we want to do. They will tell you that, okay, we've removed all those statues from there. And what next? We're talking about systematic changes, okay? Systemic changes, that's what we're talking about here. Where when you are walking on the road, or when even if you've committed an offense, you are treated the same way as a Caucasian or a white person will be treated. So I don't know what you think about the removal of statues or the campaign to remove statues. I will warn you to share your take once the lines are open. But in the meantime, you can put it on our Facebook page and we can share it with our listeners. But wherever you are, I want to welcome you to the program. And good morning. by one of the quote today, it says, success comes by work, and not just any work, but hard work and smart work. Let me take it again. Now, success comes by work, and not just any work, but hard work and smart work. So, are you sure that you are doing your best? Well, let us know. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, moving on straight to the weather front. When I was coming in, I saw that it was a bit drizzly. I'm like, okay, what is going to be happening today? Well, let me let you know. For London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be. In the afternoon, a lot of cloud, but some sunny spells will develop and allow a few heavy or thundery showers to form. There's going to be gentle winds. And tonight, any afternoon showers will clear away in this evening, leaving things most cloudy and dry for a time. Some bands of rain will move into the area, mainly after midnight, and will occasionally be heavy. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, when it comes to the temperatures is going to be 16 degrees, otherwise it's going to be 11 degrees. Pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low. Sunset is going to be at 21:17, and sunrise for tomorrow morning is going to be at 0 for 44 hours. Well. I say all the time. That is the weather forecast for you today. Wednesday, the 10th day of June, the year 2020. Okay, so now let's move on to the travel update. But let's take a quick commercial break and I'll be with you. Stay tuned and don't touch the dial. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road. It'll be the children that was keep your eyes on the road. Check it out. Check it out. This is Ghana.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Yeah, so keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep it updated. Let me take the opportunity to say good morning to Gina Latte. Hope you are doing very well. That is birthday girl's mom. What about that? Okay. Now let's move on to the travel update for you today. If you're traveling on the underground this morning, I can tell you that all the lines are working smoothly. The special service there, apart from the Waterloo and City line that is closed. But that aside, DLR, Line and Tram Link, London Overground, and TFL Rail, all special services. Now let's move on to the river bus this morning. On the river bus, we still have Woolwich Ferry that's got special service and RB6 that's got good service. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. I will keep you navigated. I promise. Our bond. The Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to every weekday from 10:30. 10:43 the time. I'm moving on to the National Rail this morning. On the National Rail, apart from the Island Line, all the others have got good service. Island Line have got a special service. So check before you leave. And finally, let's move on to the major roads in London, and then I can bring the update to a close. On the major roads in London, A10 has got closures, A21 closures, A3 closures, A4 closures, A40 closures. Now, Central London Red Routes has also got closures. South Circular A205 closures there as well. So, well. This is where we bring to an end the travel update for you today, Wednesday, the 10th day of June, the year 2020. And I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors, and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's gluten-free. You can grab one from the nearest Afro-Caribbean shop or the corner shop next to you. Insist it's Mama's Choice. It's certified by both the US and the UK Food Standard Board. Grab one for yourself today. Mama's Choice. Ubedisa Charlie.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.